After talking about the European and the Japanese tuners, the time has come to talk about the American one. And one of the best representative is definitely Callaway. Being around since the 70s, Callaway has tuned all sorts of cars, but they are famous of course for their Corvettes. For years now, Callaway has taken the pride of America and turned it into a true supercar that would embarrass even the high-end Euro exotics. I'm a big fan of Callaway, because similarly with tuners like Brabus, Callaway cars have this raw power, which is kind of hard to find nowadays. And another thing that again makes them similar with Brabus is that they would take what could be considered a perfect car and somehow make it even better. So hello guys and welcome back to another video, and here is the story of Callaway. Callaway was founded in 1977 by Raz Callaway. Raz had found success as racing drivers in the late 60s and early 70s, but like everyone else, he was affected by the oil crisis of 1973. Like many drivers, Raz started working as a driving instructor in a sports car driving school. The car that he was teaching with was a BMW 320i, which left a good taste to Callaway. So he requested a car from the school in order to work on his garage. Instead of going and borrowing a turbocharger from someone else, Callaway came up with his own design. After finishing the project, he gave the car to a friend, which at the time was working for Car and Driver magazine. The friend was amazed by the car, and he wrote an article on how amazing the car was, and how much had changed from the original car. He also added that Callaway offered these kits for everyone. Apparently, this was done without the knowledge of Raz, since at the time of publication he had no intention of manufacturing turbo kits. But soon after the magazine was published, Callaway started getting orders from all over America, and he started manufacturing his turbo kits on his garage. And in a short time, he started offering these turbo kits for some European brands, like Mercedes, Audi, Alfa Romeo, Porsche and Volkswagen. And so in 1977, Raz founded Callaway Cars. And beside turbo kits, he started offering suspension and brakes. In 1979, Callaway started developing an engine for an Indy car. The engine, called C2HH Indy car, was a 2.6-liter turbocharged V8 with around 700 horsepower. Callaway developed the car in quite a short time, in only 11 months. The engine might have been a success, since it featured a number of quite unique features. But this project was cancelled, since Callaway decided to focus more on the production cars, since it was a better choice for the business. And the first car to come from Callaway was the Callaway C3, or the Alfa Romeo twin-turbo GTV6. First, it's a bit hard to see an American performance tuner working on an Italian car, especially with an Alfa Romeo. But since at the time they were known for their turbochargers, this choice made sense. Plus, the GTV6 was one of the best sport cars of the time, especially for the money, and offered better performance than the Porsche 924 Turbo and the Datsun 240 ZX. Raz decided to twin turbocharge the engine, increasing the power output from 150 horsepower to 230 horsepower, converting the compact sport car into a true supercar. The acceleration time was at 5.9 seconds, while the top speed at 222 km per hour. The twin-turbo GTV6 gave Callaway a lot of credibility, and the car caught the attention of Dave McCollin, the chief engineer of Corvette. And this would be a true game-changing moment for Callaway. I like when tuners focus only on one brand, because this gives them the opportunity to come up with some awesome cars, and Callaway with Corvette is no exception from this. Corvette was a perfect car for Callaway, because it allowed them to tune it into the extremes. The first Callaway vet came in 1987, named Twin Turbo. The car gave the idea that it was just a twin turbocharged vet, but the vet had received a total of 2,000 new pieces. Callaway had completely reworked the engine, with forged pistons, new crankshaft and many more. All these changes increased the power from 240 horsepower to 345 horsepower. The top speed was at 290 km per hour, while the acceleration time at 5 seconds. Callaway worked together with Corvette on this project, and you could order a Callaway tuned Corvette from 30 different dealerships. The conversion costed $20,000, which was a quite high amount of money, especially when you consider that a stock C4 costed $28,000. But still, the Callaway offered Lamborghini and Ferrari performance for half the price. So it was a win-win situation. The 1988 B2K Twin Turbo received a power upgrade, with the power output being at 382 horsepower and 562 pound-foot of torque. Another power upgrade would come in 1991, this time as a response to Corvette, which 1 year before had presented the ZR1. This time the power was at 403 horsepower and 582 pound-foot of torque, slightly more than the ZR1, which packed 390 horsepower and 562 pound-foot of torque. But these were the entry-level Callaways. For those one who wanted something really special and had the money to pay for it, Callaway has the answer for you. The first car is probably their most iconic creation, the Sledgehammer. The name alone is scary, let alone the numbers that this beast could pull out. The Sledgehammer was introduced in 1988 and was built as a test and promotion car. Reeves wanted to show what the 5.7-liter V8 was capable of doing, and at the same time he wanted to experiment with the aerodynamics of the car. He packed the C4 with a new body kit in order to reduce the drag coefficient as much as possible, while the engine was completely reworked when all the parts were new. In the end, the Sledgehammer had 900 horsepower at 6,250 rpm and 772 pound-foot of torque. This power was enough not only to propel the car from 0 to 100 in 4 seconds, but also to reach a top speed of 409 km per hour. This speed is just crazy even today, let alone back in 1988. One thing that made this record even crazier was that the interior wasn't touched at all, so you had all the luxury goodies. The leather seats, the air conditioning, the stereo system, and everything you wanted to make the ride even better. Sadly, the Sledgehammer was built on extremely low numbers, so it's almost impossible to find one. The aero body of the Sledgehammer quickly became available for all the other Callaway Corvettes, and was quite popular since it gave the vet a more exotic look. After introducing the Sledgehammer and showing the performance enhancement that Callaway could do, Reeves presented the Speedster, showing this time the extreme body modifications that he could achieve. A new turbo system was created for the Speedster, which increased the power output to 450 horsepower. Like the previous Callaways, everything was reworked in order to go with the new performance numbers. But the coolest part was of course the chopped windshield, which gave the Speedster a very muscular old-school look. Callaway was also approached by Aston Martin in order to work with the MAR1 project, which was their Le Mans car. The engine was completely reworked by Callaway, and which also increased the displacement. The AMR only raced once and finished on 11th place. A similar version of the engine also made it into the production Virage. In a short time, Callaway managed to build some truly amazing cars, but the 90s would see a wave of some really special Callaways. But that's a story for another time. So guys, thank you for watching. See you next time.